Hello, and welcome to another Elevated Marketing Chat, where we discuss data driven digital marketing strategies to help your business grow. My name is Jennifer Denny. I am the owner of Elevated Marketing Solutions, and we are a Indianapolis based digital marketing agency that focuses on the data of your marketing because we believe every data set has a story to tell. You can learn more about us at elevatedmarketing.solutions because we are all about solutions, just like I said. So before we get started today, we are going to start with our quote of the day. And let me get it up on the screen. And our quote is, "The only strategy that will fail is not taking risk." And I know taking risk is really scary because you've got to step outside of your comfort zone with what you're used to doing. But if you don't take risks, then you're always going to be at the same point in life that you are right now. And so you've got to take risks and be okay with you're not going to hit the mark every time. You're going to come across failure. And that's just a part of growth. You also have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because if you're not uncomfortable, then you're staying in the same spot that you're always going to be at. So the only strategy in life that's really going to fail is if you don't take risk. So let's get started today. Let me get myself set up over here. Today, we are going to be talking about, do you need a new digital marketing agency? And this might be quite timely as we go into the fourth quarter here. A lot of people do look at their current marketing and they're setting up their budgets for 2021, and they're really taking a look at what did they accomplish for the year and are they satisfied with who's doing their marketing for them. And so this is a time of the year that we do see that a lot of people are switching their marketing. And after all, it is 2020 with a lot of changes. So, today's topics or what we're going to cover are really the opinion of myself and my team. So we hope we can help you with your decision on whether or not you need a new digital marketing agency. So the first topic is you don't see value or ROI. And really everything else in the rest of today's talk is probably going to be symptoms as to why you don't see value or ROI. So we're going to kind of go through these, but in your gut, if you're not being presented with the value of the marketing agency that you have, then you need to have that conversation with them and let them know. And perhaps that would be a nice kick in the rear to kind of show you the work that they are doing. Maybe they're just not great communicators, and yada yada. Lots of other things that we're going to talk about today are probably the reasons that you're not seeing value or ROI. So first one up is you are being shown vanity metrics. So if a lot of things that are being discussed with you are how many impressions you're getting, how many clicks you're getting, how many click through, but you never quite get to the conversation of goal completions or conversions. That's the terms we use in our world. But in your world, leads, phone calls, form fills, actual sales if you have an e-commerce site, then you probably are with the wrong marketing agency because they're not measuring the items that really matter. All of those other metrics are just symptoms as to why your program is working or it's not working. And it's definitely metrics that should be looked at, but you as the business owner shouldn't be as concerned with those metrics as your marketing agency should be. So if you're not getting the bottom line of how much revenue is being driven by your marketing agency, then it might be time to look for someone else. So the next thing is that your marketing might be not your marketing, but your reporting might be automated. If you're getting automated reports and you're not having a monthly conversation with your agency, then perhaps it is time to move on, because we believe that every data set has a story to tell, and that story should be told to you. And you should be able to understand why this number's up or that number's down. And sometimes you might get automated reporting that are bulking everything together into one big number, but really the answer lies in the details as to why that is up or down, and it might tell you a different story than the one that you saw. So another reason you might want to consider a new digital marketing agency is you don't feel like you have a partnership. You don't feel like you can trust your agency, and you don't feel like they are putting your business as if it is their own agency, own business, I should say. And really, that's just a gut check that if you feel this way and you don't feel like you have a great partnership, then it might be time to look on. Now, some reasons that you might not feel like you have a great partnership is you just don't get along. You just have two different personalities. And there might not be anything wrong with one personality or the other, but if you're just different, see things differently, then that might not be a good thing. They might also lack some professionalism. So if they're not portraying, their concerns or their messages or communication in a professional manner, then I would definitely say it's time to move on. The other thing could be there just is a lack of communication or good response times. If you're not getting any communication, then that's probably where your lack of trust is, because you're filling in the blanks for what you think is being done. Now, there's such thing as over communication and too much, communication coming through. You don't want your marketing agency spending so much time on communication that they're not actually spending any time on the actual account. So be careful of that. Also, when it comes to good response times, some answers might need to be more thoroughly thought out, or data might need to be gathered in order to give a good response to email questions that you might have. So 24 to 48 hours is a good, amount of time to wait in order to get a reply on emails. So another reason why you might want to hire a new marketing agency is you're not getting any pushback. If you are suggesting everything to your marketing agency and they're just taking everything that you're saying and doing exactly what it is, then you don't have a strategist, you have an order taker. And you don't want an order taker. You're paying for the fact that they know what they're doing, and so they should be pushing back with you with reasons why this might work or that might not work. And it shouldn't just be an order taking situation. And in the same breath, they should also be bringing ideas to you instead of you bringing ideas to them. So they could be lacking innovation and new ideas, and you're really just pulling them along. In that case, you might need an employee and not a marketing agency. So along the way, too, another item that I think about, as far as a good marketing agency, at least in my opinion, is that they are teaching you the why behind the strategy and why they are doing something. They're not just dropping terms. We like to make up new terms in digital marketing all the time, and it's easy to be swayed by somebody that understands, or I shouldn't say understands, but is able to drop all the different names that we use in digital marketing and terms. But if they can't explain the why and they can't explain the strategy, then you're probably not with a good marketing agency. My next reason is they're not currently testing anything. So if they're not telling you about any testing that they're doing, then I would say that they're probably not doing any testing. Be wary of people that come out and have some sort of magic secret sauce and some sort of direct connection to Google or Facebook that's going to allow you to get better results, because it just doesn't exist. what you need to look for is experience. How many years have people been working on and doing accounts? You don't want to be the guinea pig. Given everybody starts somewhere, and so there's going to be places where maybe you're not paying as much, and so you're going to get someone less experienced. But I can tell you, at least on the elevated team, everybody has at least 10 years experience, if not 15, in digital marketing, and so you're not getting someone new. So that we all have hypotheses on what we think is going to work, and that comes from our years of experience, but that doesn't mean that what we hypothesize is always going to work. So we're going to be constantly testing. Another thing you want to be leery of is making too many changes or not enough changes. So that kind of goes back to the communication. And if there's too many changes going on, then they're not allowing enough data to be gathered in order to make good decisions. And then if there's just not enough, that's probably why you have a lack of communication. So my next one is they don't admit to mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody is human. And so if they're not admitting any mistakes that are happening, then you likely just don't even know that those are happening. So I would watch out for that as well. Along with the mistakes, though, is an agency that will say that they can do anything. Digital marketing has a lot of really deep crevices, and there's a lot of skill sets that really need to be deep to know what you're really doing. And so unless you're dealing with a really large agency that has the capabilities to hire people in each individual discipline, then you're likely going to be working with someone that doesn't know how to do everything. Now, when you have those large agencies, though, I think there is a negative to that, and I've worked in that scenario before. When you get too large and your teams are very isolated in different aspects, which they have to be when they're handling as many clients as they are, you're really going to lose the strategy aspect that you get from a small team that knows everything that's going on. Now, that's personal, and that's how I feel, but that's all I'm going to say about that. So another reason you might look at whether or not you need to hire a new digital marketing agency is you're in a long-term contract. Now, I'm not talking about 3 months or less or 6 months or less, but maybe a year or more. We do our contracts month to month because if we're not bringing you results, then we want to make sure that you have an out. We're that confident in what we do. So I know long-term contracts are common, and it's usually because they want to be able to forecast their money as an agency, but it can also be a red flag in that they're hiding that they don't really know what they're doing. So this is another big one that I see is you don't own or have access to your actual Google Ads account, Google Analytics account, Facebook Ads account, and so forth. If you don't have actual access, then you don't own the data. And so that is a big deal. That means you're not able to see it yourself. And it also means when you move on to another agency, you're not going to be able to take that data with you. Now, sometimes they have it, but they just haven't given you access yet. And you want to make sure that if you're working with someone right now, you have full access to all these items. If you need a list of all the items that you should have access to, please feel free to reach out to us. My personal email is jennifer@elevatedmarketing.solutions, and I will give you a list of items that you should have access to. So there are some instances when I would say that you should not fire agency, and that's going to be when it's been less than 3 months. You've got to give them some room in order to, work through an account. Usually in the beginning, there's a lot of setup, or at least in our experience, a lot of times accounts that we take over are not quite set up right. And so we've got to get all that set up in, and then we've got to have a couple months of good data. But if any of the items that I've listed today are things that you're not getting taken for you, we'd love to have a chat with you, but only you know the answer on whether or not that you need a new digital marketing agency. So that is it for today. If you want to like, follow, or subscribe to us, we're all over on all the social media platforms. You can also sign up for our newsletter at elevatedmarketing.solutions, and we will make sure that you get the blog post as well as the video that we have done today. Next time, we are going to talk about how much should I spend on digital marketing. And we'll take this from an ads perspective, we'll take this from an agency perspective, and all the different ways when looking at your ads or at your digital marketing spend going into 2021. And that will be on November 12th at our normal time of 1 o'clock. All right, that is it for today. Thank you for listening. And again, my name is Jennifer Denny. I am the owner of Elevated Marketing Solutions. Take care, guys.